Life on the World War I Aerodrome. Insights from Eddie Rickenbacker's Fighting the Flying Circus. Welcome, esteemed viewers. Today, we delve into the profound experiences of America's top flying ace during the First World War, Captain Eddie Rickenbacker. Drawing from his seminal memoir, Fighting the Flying Circus, we explore the intricate life on the World War I Aerodrome and the formidable challenges faced by American pilots stationed in France. The architecture of the Aerodrome. The aerodrome, a term familiar yet perhaps abstract to many, was the epicenter of aerial operations during the Great War. Picture, if you will, a meticulously maintained field, square in shape, each side extending half a mile, a total area of approximately 0.25 square miles, or 160 acres. Strategically located near vital towns and accessible roadways, this field was not merely a landing strip, but a complex hub of military activity. At each corner of this expansive square stood large hangars, massive sheds capable of housing 10 to 12 aircraft each. These hangars were aligned facing inward, allowing for efficient deployment onto the field. The positioning was not haphazard. It facilitated the operations of 4 squadrons, comprising approximately 80 aircraft and an equal number of pilots. Organizational structure and daily operations. The aerodrome was a microcosm of military organization. Adjacent to the hangars were the officers' mess and sleeping quarters, often shared between squadrons to foster camaraderie among the roughly 20 pilots per squadron. Enlisted personnel, numbering around 200 per squadron, were billeted separately. These men, including mechanics, drivers, and various support staff, were the unsung heroes ensuring operational readiness. Each pilot was assigned a dedicated team of 3 mechanics, specialists responsible for the meticulous maintenance of his aircraft. Their duties extended beyond routine inspections. They performed rigorous checks to ensure no defect, however minute, escaped their scrutiny. This level of dedication was paramount, considering the mechanical complexities and vulnerabilities of early 20th century aircraft. Camouflage and enemy surveillance. Despite the aerodrome's strategic importance, it was perennially exposed to enemy observation. Camouflage efforts were extensive. Hangars and aircraft were often painted to blend with the surrounding terrain. Netting was used to obscure shapes, and decoy structures were sometimes employed to mislead reconnaissance. However, these measures were frequently insufficient against seasoned enemy observers. From altitudes of several thousand feet, German reconnaissance aircraft could discern the telltale signs of an active aerodrome. The vast open field, the patterns of wear on the grass, and even the shadow play during different times of the day could betray its location. The pilots and ground crew operated with the constant awareness that their base was likely known to the enemy. Collaborative training with French airmen. In the nascent stages of American involvement, the expertise of French aviators was indispensable. An arrangement was established wherein experienced French pilots would mentor American novices, escorting them over enemy lines to acclimate them to the rigors of aerial combat. These joint missions were critical for the Americans, providing real-world experience that training alone could not offer. However, an oversight occurred that underscored the perils of inadequate preparation. The machine gun oversight. Unbeknownst to both the French mentors and the American pilots themselves, the Newport aircraft supplied to the Americans were not equipped with machine guns. For 2 weeks, these unarmed aircraft ventured over enemy territory, relying solely on the assumption of being combat ready. It was only upon routine inspection by a French flight leader that this alarming omission was discovered. The French aviators were astounded, if not incensed, by the revelation. The Americans had been flying into potential combat zones utterly defenseless, a testament to the logistical challenges and miscommunications prevalent during wartime mobilization. Reflecting on this incident, Rickenbacker noted the irony and the unintentional bravado of such missions. While the Germans remained unaware of this vulnerability, the episode emphasized the critical importance of thorough equipment checks and inter-allied communication. The tragic loss of Captain James Miller. Among the many figures of the squadron, Captain James Miller stood out, a dedicated officer who left behind a prosperous life in New York to serve his nation. His tenure was marked by an unwavering desire to engage the enemy in aerial combat, a goal that seemed perpetually out of reach due to administrative delays and training obligations. An opportunity finally presented itself when Major Davenport Johnson invited Captain Miller to accompany him on a flight over the lines. On that fateful day, they ventured towards the Argonne Forest, a region fraught with enemy activity. Circumstances of Captain Miller's disappearance. During their patrol, they encountered two squadrons of German two-seater aircraft, formidable adversaries equipped with both forward and rear-mounted machine guns. In the ensuing confusion, Captain Miller became separated from Major Johnson. Major Johnson, citing jammed guns, returned to base. Captain Miller, however, was left to face the enemy alone. He never returned from the mission. Days later, it was confirmed via German reports that Captain James Miller had been wounded in combat and had succumbed to his injuries shortly after crashing behind enemy lines. His death was a profound loss, not only as the first casualty of their group, but as a sobering reminder of the perils inherent in aerial warfare. Impact on the squadron and coping strategies. The loss of Captain Miller resonated deeply within the squadron. For Rickenbacker, it was a personal blow that challenged his resolve. He grappled with the emotional toll of losing a close comrade while acknowledging the necessity of maintaining operational focus. In his reflections, Rickenbacker recognized that forming intense personal attachments could jeopardize a pilot's effectiveness. The psychological burden of warfare required a delicate balance between camaraderie and professional detachment, a theme recurrent among fighter pilots facing daily confrontations with mortality. Contextualizing the German offensive of March 1918. March 1918 marked a pivotal juncture in the Great War. The German High Command, seeking a decisive victory before American forces could tip the balance, launched Operation Michael, the spring offensive targeting the British expeditionary forces along the Somme. Amidst these intensified hostilities, the urgency for American combat readiness escalated. The prolonged delays in deploying fully equipped and trained American air units became a point of contention and concern among the Allied forces. German intelligence was acutely aware of the gaps between American industrial output and frontline deployment. The anticipated influx of 20,000 American aircraft had not materialized, and German aviators continued to assert air superiority in various sectors. Logistical challenges and equipment shortages. The American squadrons faced significant obstacles in attaining operational status. Delays in the delivery of machine guns, instrumentation, and aircraft parts hindered their ability to engage effectively with the enemy. These shortages were not merely administrative oversights, but were indicative of the larger industrial and logistical hurdles confronting the United States as it transitioned to a wartime economy. The discrepancy between the expectations of the American public and the realities on the ground highlighted the complexities of mass mobilization. Relocation to Épiès Aerodrome and reinforcements. In response to the German advances, the 94th and 95th Squadrons were relocated to the Épiès Aerodrome, situated approximately 30 miles from the front lines. This move was strategic, providing a buffer against enemy offensives while the squadrons continued training and awaited equipment. At Épiès, the arrival of seasoned pilots Captain James Norman Hall and Captain David Mackay Peterson infused the squadron with invaluable combat experience. Both veterans of the Lafayette Escadrille, their presence served as both a morale boost and a source of tactical knowledge. Anecdotes reflecting human elements. An incident involving Captain Hall encapsulated the unpredictability of aviation. Upon arriving at Épiès, he executed a landing that resulted in his Newport flipping onto its back, a mishap that, fortunately, left him unscathed. This event, while initially alarming, served to humanize the esteemed pilot and provided a moment of levity for the squadron. Such experiences underscored the inherent risks of early aviation, where even the most skilled pilots were not immune to mechanical failures or variable conditions. The shared challenges fostered a strong sense of unity among the airmen. The reality of enemy air raids. Rickenbacker's nocturnal journey to retrieve an aircraft offered a stark encounter with the civilian toll of warfare. As he passed through a village near Châlons-on-the-Marne, he witnessed the palpable fear induced by German aerial bombardments. Descriptions of elderly residents and children fleeing into the night conveyed the indiscriminate nature of war's reach. The juxtaposition of Rickenbacker's clinical observation of anti-aircraft defenses and the villagers' terror highlighted the differing perspectives of combatants and non-combatants. Arrival of critical equipment and renewed purpose. April brought a turning point as vital equipment, including the long-awaited machine guns, finally arrived. The 94th Squadron, now fully equipped, was poised to assume an active combat role. The pilots engaged in intensive training sessions to familiarize themselves with the new armaments and aircraft modifications. The atmosphere was one of eager anticipation, tempered by the sobering awareness of the challenges ahead. The genesis of the hat in the ring insignia. With operational readiness achieved, the squadron sought to establish a distinct identity. Squadron insignias were more than decorative. They embodied the spirit and ethos of the unit. Major John Huffer proposed incorporating Uncle Sam's stovepipe hat, a symbol of American determination. However, it was Lieutenant Walters, the squadron surgeon, who suggested the hat in the ring motif. This emblem, refined by Lieutenant John Wentworth of Chicago, featured a red, white, and blue top hat encircled by a ring, symbolizing a bold challenge to the enemy. The adoption of the hat in the ring insignia galvanized the squadron's esprit de corps. It served as a visual assertion of their readiness to engage and a unifying symbol as they prepared for imminent combat operations. Deployment to Toul Aerodrome and strategic importance. On April 10, 1918, the 94th Squadron relocated to the Toul Aerodrome, situated 2 miles east of Toul and approximately 18 miles from the front lines. The region was of significant strategic value due to its proximity to Verdun, a focal point of German offensive efforts. The terrain presented both opportunities and challenges. The rolling hills and dense forests required pilots to possess keen navigational skills and situational awareness. The aerodrome itself became a target for enemy reconnaissance and potential bombardment. Commencement of combat operations. With all elements in place, the 94th Squadron earned the distinction of being the first American unit to undertake combat operations in the air war over France. This was a momentous step, transitioning from training and preparation to active engagement with enemy forces. Rickenbacker and his fellow pilots were acutely aware of the expectations placed upon them. Their actions would not only impact immediate tactical outcomes, but also shape the broader perception of American contributions to the Allied war effort. Early victories and tactical insights. In the ensuing 30 days, Rickenbacker achieved 5 confirmed aerial victories, a testament to his skill, strategic acumen, and adaptability. These engagements provided critical insights into the evolving nature of air combat. Rickenbacker's success was not solely a personal accolade, but reflected the efficacy of the squadron's training, equipment, and leadership. The 94th Squadron's achievements during this period contributed to establishing air superiority in their sector. Legacy of the 94th Squadron. The exploits of the 94th Aero Squadron resonated beyond their immediate operations. They set a precedent for American aerial combat, demonstrating proficiency and bravery that inspired subsequent units. The hat in the ring became more than an insignia. It was a symbol of American resolve and a harbinger of the growing impact the United States would have on the war's outcome. In revisiting Captain Eddie Rickenbacker's Fighting the Flying Circus, we gain invaluable perspectives on the complexities and nuances of aerial warfare during World War I. The experiences shared illuminate the technical challenges, strategic considerations, and human dimensions of the pilot's journey. As we reflect on these accounts, we honor the legacy of those who paved the way in military aviation, whose courage and ingenuity continue to inspire advancements in the field. Their stories remind us of the profound impact that dedicated individuals can have in shaping the course of history.